Welcome to the Lifebox Media Chat. Ladies and gentlemen, here with recording artist Sammy Sadler. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. It's good to see you, Charles.
Thank you so much, man, again, for taking the time. We've been having a blast here recording today, and it's been absolutely, we go through the serious stuff, we do the fun stuff, but it is such a pleasure sitting down, interviewing you, and hearing your story. And I'll tell you, going back to the time period of, when you first got started coming to Nashville, tell me a little bit about what your inspiration was coming to Nashville and kind of how it kind of stopped.
Well, I started out in Texas, as a kid singing and, putting a band together in high school and doing those kind of things. And then we got invited to go play the Louisiana Hayride. We got to play it twice.
Really?
Yeah, man.
That's cool.
So that was exciting for me, knowing that everybody had played on the Louisiana Hayride, Hank Snow and Hank, Elvis, and all of them, So
Right.
to be able to be invited to be able to play on that show, man, I was excited about doing it. And then they invited me back, to do another one. So we were thankful for that. And I was just a kid, man, when I did all that.
What kind of tunes were you playing back then?
Man, I was doing Merle Haggard stuff and, just different thing, Eddie Rabbit, just different stuff. Man.
Another guy, we'll bring it up, another guy that doesn't get enough love or credit.
Yeah.
Eddie Rabbit was so talented, and he wrote Kentucky Rain for Elvis, by the way, and people don't know that. That's a great deal,
Absolutely.
But I mean, and I think today, you don't see it on the charts of people talking about, singers of the 70s and 80s and songwriters is Eddie Rabbit. So I'm so glad you brought him up, man.
Yeah,
That was
he had good music, man.
Yeah, so I mean, and obviously you were talking about, you were really deep in the country. You liked a little bit of everything, but you were really deep in the country, and you named some really, great talent out there. So were they your influences growing up?
Elvis was my big deal.
Sure.
But then,
Can't go wrong.
Then it was Johnny Cash and Marty Robbins and
Name dropper.
George Jones. All the greats, man, that came from that era.
Marty Robbins, great.
Yeah.
You and I, when you were on the Lifebox Media Channel radio podcast not long ago, we spoke about Marty Robbins and him also not getting the credit of being one of those guys that had an incredible voice.
Yeah.
And a long run that I just think again something you should hear on the radio today when they drop back and they show old time singers and everything else. Marty Robbins is one of those guys that really doesn't get enough credit.
And was a great entertainer.
Yes, sir, absolutely. Yeah. So what's your favorite Marty Robbins song?
Oh my gosh, Don't Worry About Me.
Ooh, very nice, very nice. Love that. So when you're appearing in these places, there's where all these great talents have performed, like Louisiana Hayride. What was it like when you know that you're walking in there, stepping in giant shoes?
Man, I mean, it's just a surreal feeling, man, to be able to know who played,
right,
and who was on that stage. It's just a great feeling.
When you come out, now I sit there and say, we've talked about this earlier, is that, there's nothing like the high of playing on a stage with a crowd rocking out for you and anticipating. What was it like to sit there, and you hear a song out there or somebody singing one of your songs or you catch one of your songs out there? What's it like, man?
It's just a feeling you can't explain. We was doing a show with the Bellamy Brothers down in Texas, and I had a song out. It's called I Know a Place, and we played that song at night, and everybody was singing to it, man. And for them to know it and, to know the words and out there dancing and singing, man, it's just, it's a feeling you can't describe.
I love it. Now when you came to Nashville and kind of like things made a very hard left or right or however you want to put it, it went from being a lot of fun and glory to all of a sudden being some really hard times, and you're still kind of making your come back now, kind of to it. I don't want to say come back, but you're revisiting, and you're bringing yourself back. What in a short story, what kind of stopped the deal?
Well, obviously, Ronnie Cummings was one of the first guys I ever met when I came to Nashville, and Ronnie ended up having a lot of connections. He knew Jimmy Bowen and a bunch of different people, and I got to know Jimmy, and Ronnie's one of the first ones that ended up helping me first get my record deal, and so we got that, and we got things going, and we had 5 or 6 nationally charted records. We're working on my first album, and then my whole career on March the 9th, 1989, when the murder on Music Row happened, my whole career came to a halt that night, and obviously I didn't know what it was all about, didn't have any clue what was going on. I was worried if somebody's still trying to kill me or what it was all about, and the police ended up treating me like a suspect from day one.
Right.
And the way that they treated me and the way that they acted, I know it put a cloud over me, and it put a it hurt my career because of the way they treated it, and because of the content of what it all was about when it came out, about the payola in country music. But it goes on in every business, not just country music.
Right, right. Now, do you feel, in a way, coming around now that you kind of vindicated that you're coming around now and you're kind of taking your comeuppance in a way?
Well, I've never left. I got back on my feet back in 1991. It took me 2 years to get back on my feet.
That's physically too, right?
Yeah, I had to go through 2 major operations. I had 100 staples down my arm.
So you took a shot in the shoulder, right?
Yeah, I got shot, at point blank range right here. It's that close. And, I've got 100 staples down my arm. I carry the bullet in my shoulder. And, obviously that night I didn't know how bad I was hurt. But they ended up having to operate on me for many, many hours and repair the artery in my arm. I was bleeding to death, didn't know that. Ended up going about 6 months to the day, having a second operation on a nerve that had been severed from the shot. So I had to do a nerve graft, and Al Gore's the one who's responsible for helping me get my second operation down in New Orleans with the surgeon that operated on his son.
The former vice president and
Yes,
senator.
sir.
Yes, sir. That's awesome, and I appreciate you sharing that. Now, as far as the fact of, you coming back around, and I used the word earlier, I think with you guys, it's kind of bittersweet. Obviously, you guys big faith, based and everything else is, and, and I hear you in, and, thank God you're here today, and you're kind of putting your voice out there. And you guys I didn't address this earlier, but in your concerts, you're kind of telling a story at the same time. What we were talking about, that's the idea of what you're going to kind of tell a story at the same time you guys are performing or during your concerts, right?
Yeah, we're putting a show together. It's a celebration of 80s and 90s country music.
Yes, sir.
And I'm putting that together with Leon Everett. And, Leon had all the hits back in the 80s from 80 to 85. And, we're going to tell what actually goes on behind the scenes, and it's not all about when you're on the stage and everybody just sees you.
Right.
We get depressed, and we go through the lows and downs, and it's like an emotional roller coaster for artists. You're up and you're down.
That's easy for you to say.
Yeah, and it's hard to deal with. It's really hard to deal with, man.
Yes, sir.
And people don't know that.
No, people think that they see you for 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours
Yeah.
on stage. You come out there with all your smiles and everything
Yeah.
else. They don't know that whether you stubbed your toe on the way
Yeah.
back, you're getting divorced, somebody bumped your car, stole your equipment, stole your song, whatever.
Yeah.
They have no idea, because when you're walking out there, suddenly you got the Donny Osmond smile, and you're coming out there and you're dropping your songs, and everybody thinks, oh man, your deal's great. So they don't really.
That's right.
And it's nice that, and I have to say, and I understand both sides of the spectrum here. You go out to enjoy a talent. If I come to say, I'm seeing Sammy Sadler tonight. I bought a ticket. Yeah, I want to see you rock out. I want to see you, have a great night out and tear down the house and everything else is. But at the same time, I also understand being on the other side of the coin. There is, you're putting on that smile, you're putting on everything else it is, and and I know that when you go in the back, you might be going, I don't need this, or you're like that old meme goes, your guardian angel's going, I don't need this, kind of the deal. So people, and I'm not putting fun to it, but yes, I am at the same time saying, look, you have to recognize that you have a life, but you also are bringing so much to other people, and I want to tell you how much, as the fan part, that I appreciate the talent coming out, because sometimes people come and they'll listen to one of your songs and go, man, that is just what I needed to come past today.
Yeah.
And it might not have anything to do with the subject, it might have everything to do with the subject.
Yeah.
But I think entertainers don't get enough of a respect of saying, man, you know what, man, that's just what I needed to go out, or I bought that ticket and I went to see these guys, and this is just what happened, and or I met somebody, or what's it like when somebody sits there and says to you, hey man, you know what, I met somebody at one of your concerts, and now it's my wife or my husband, or your song's their song, or how does that feel to you as an entertainer?
Man, it's a rewarding feeling. I've got a song that I do in my show. It's called No Place to Land, and that was kind of my life story for a long time. And I have women come up to me and say, oh, that's my life story, or they may come up to the table. I've had them come up crying to me, And the thing about music is that music touches you where nothing else can touch you. And you don't know what somebody's going through or what they're going through out there. And music can get to you where nothing else can get to you and touch you in a way that nothing else can.
I love it. That's really true. I mean, I think some people really live off the idea of, back in the day, you remember when you started, you go, oh man, the new album's dropping,
Yeah.
man, I can't wait to go out and pick it up at the
Yeah.
store or CD or whatever it happened to
Yeah.
be. And I think that's one of the things that's missing now. And I think that's why vinyl. I got a couple of vinyls for my birthday this year, and I was like, man, I just put them on the turntable, and kind of ashamed because I have a small turntable now. And back in the day, I used to have like the giant stereo, but whatever. But that's the idea, is we looked forward to music.
Yeah.
So I think the idea of looking forward to going and seeing you in concert and maybe buying your new music and listening to your old stuff, I think that's really neat that people need to reach out, but they're also getting part of your story and realizing that not everything is, oh man, we just signed for $80 million, which those contracts, like I said, and I've said before,
those are gone.
those big, humongous contracts, and a lot of that on the back end is you're
Yeah.
paying for everything anyway.
Yeah,
So,
right.
taking all that money out of it, I think the people need to see, I think you guys are also showing it's not a new way, but it's a way for you guys to get what you deserve in a way of you go out now. There's less to break up. You're not giving it to the big record companies. You're not giving it to. We were talking about points earlier, and I paraphrased of such and such gets so many points, but that's the idea that now it's okay. Look, you still have to pay bills, but you know what?
Yeah.
You don't have to share it with all the. You're not getting a smaller piece of the change. You have to pay the bills and stuff, but you're not giving 85% of your deal to them and then paying everything else out of it.
And that's basically, people don't understand that. They think that all of the guys you hear and see on the radio or TV, they just come out of nowhere.
Right.
And, that's not how it happens, I mean, and today, when Leon and I were coming up, they didn't have all of these reality TV shows or these TV shows that you can get on there and be seen one time and have 1 million followers.
Right.
Me and Leon's traveled millions of miles, and we'll still never get in front of those many people.
Right.
And so they
even
have
with
an
hits,
advantage.
with hits that you guys have had, still to do one night and get 15 million people watching
absolutely.
it. And when I tell people that, it's funny when they'll put their nose up and say, "Well, I'm not going to do that show," and I'm like, you have a commercial for 90 seconds in front of 15 million people. I don't care if you don't like the show.
Yeah.
Go unless it's completely against your morals.
Yeah.
Go to the doggone show and say thank you. And if you don't come back, obviously you don't want to lose. Nobody ever wants to lose, but that's a whole other deal on that part. But take your commercial and be on your way, and you can push that. I mean, you would, like you said, you've been doing this for a long time. You'd love to get in front of 15 million people in one night. And do that, and God willing, maybe that kind of come down your ways. But, geez, that's exactly what, you work so hard to do. Yeah. So I think that the talent today can also take a lesson that, look, you guys being on the road, you guys booking your own stuff, you guys doing stuff, and of course there's promoters and whatever else and some things and whatever, but you guys doing these things also is a great lesson to people that your merchandise, your touring stuff, all these things comes out. And I think that's really important that people don't realize that how you're making your living today. That's not, oh my God, you sold, back in the day, and I'm again paraphrasing, oh man, I got a gold album. Mm-hmm. Well, that was a Cadillac and a house or a good down payment on a nice house back in the day. And you could sit home for a while if you didn't want to, do anything else, and you were good. Now gold album is thanks, and and you're on your way to the next deal if you can even get one. As it is, or even a Grammy nomination, which not knocking the Grammys or an award nomination, you respect it and love to have it, but it doesn't mean instantaneously you're rich and famous and.
And for us, I mean, what you see is what you get. I mean, when we go out on stage, that's what we live for.
Right.
We are happy to be there. We are happy to entertain the people, and it's not a put on with us. And a lot of these guys that I've been noticing, they'll treat their fans with disrespect in some aspects, and without the fans, you don't have a career.
Right.
And without radio, not so much today. You don't have to have radio to be successful, but we appreciate everybody that comes and sees us. We want to see them, but like you said, they don't know that when we walk off the stage or get on the bus, all the stuff that we have to deal with when we did have labels, or we did have managers, we did have booking agents, or we were in bad relationships. They don't see all the stuff that we have to go through. But for us as entertainers, that's what we live for, is to be able to get out on that stage and share that 90 minutes with what we do, because it's just something that we love to do.
And there's no feeling like that.
It's not.
We're feeling, that reciprocation back from the crowd is absolutely the most awesome thing you can
Yeah.
ever feel. I mean, on a level of that, I mean, like I said, you sit there and said, group singing back, an audience singing back your song
Yeah.
is, I mean, that just, I mean, I'm watching from somebody else's side, sitting there going, that is the most coolest thing I've ever
Yeah.
seen, that it is looking at it going like that. Now, of course, with you guys coming up and you guys looking at making a tour and everything else is for 2024,
Yeah.
and you have some dates in between, and obviously and stuff. But I mean, so are you guys going to collaborate on some music together?
Me and Leon were talking about that the other night. We got to find the right song, and we're going to try to find the song that will fit us, and we're going to try to go in and we're going to cut something.
Now he said he didn't want to cut with you. No, I'm just joking.
Spike is going to sing with Boo Boo, and it's going to be Leon Boo Boo Everett and Sammy Spike Sadler, the duo.
I can see it on the marquees everywhere.
yeah. But we're
great.
gonna when we find the right song that we think is gonna be that song for us, we're gonna go in and cut something together.
Yeah, I mean, you guys sound like you guys could really fit something together with your voices. Yeah, I think you guys could really make something come out of a nice duo.
Yeah, I think it'll be good when we find the right song.
And and I love to I love to say you had been on the show not long ago and everything else, and appreciate that. But I'll tell you what, you are basically. And you and I talked for a little bit after we got off the air.
Yeah.
And you are what you said. You are exactly, walked in and met you today, first day in person I met you, and it was like, dude, this is exactly what we were talking about, exactly what we did, and exactly how it was. And we've had a lot of fun, in between takes here and everything else. But, it's really cool to sit there and see you laid back, taking the time, but also, when you come back and it's one of those things I think that you guys are showing that you can. And you're not going to let things hold you back, and I have huge respect for that because you guys are showing your faith. You're showing the idea that look, it is literally not how many times you get knocked down; it's how many times you get back up. That is legitimately true. And you guys had some pretty solid, big right hands, hit you, and
yeah, we did. Leon got blackballed. He tells you he got blackballed out of Nashville. I believe Nashville blackballed me because of the content and how the police treated me. And there's one thing that if you've got God with you, nothing can stop you. And I love Nashville, but if we don't ever have records, that's fine. They can't take my voice from me. They can't take my story from me. It is a part of who I am. I have to accept it. Why did I have to be involved in one of the biggest black eyes in country music? Only God knows that. Why Kevin died and why I lived, only God knows. But I found out later, Char, that when all that happened, the night Kevin got shot and I got shot, I wasn't a Christian. I found out later that Kevin was a Christian. And for him to take him and leave me, I'm just thankful that God thought enough of me to keep me here and to leave me here. And now I can say that I am a Christian, I am saved, and I'm thankful for that.
On one thought, and amen to that, my friend, to one thought of it as I sit there and say, what would one thing you would want to mention or thought about that gentleman that was lost that night that you would want somebody to know about him?
Kevin and I had only known each other about 7 or 8 months, but I feel like as time would have went on, when you meet people, just like me and Leon, I feel like we'll be friends forever. And I felt that way with Kevin. And for him to die the way that he died it's a shame, man, because here's a man that died for being an honest man, because he wouldn't take the money, because he wouldn't play the game of whatever they were wanting to do. So for me, I've always said that Kevin Hughes died for country music. I took a bullet for it. And Nashville and the police department here in Nashville want to treat Kevin and I and our characters and make us look like that we're nothing, that we're nobody, that they want to sweep this on the rug and act like it doesn't matter. It matters, because Kevin Hughes' family, they lost a son, they lost a brother. And it changed their lives forever, it changed my life forever. And shame on Nashville for doing what they do, because they rally around their own. Right. And nobody ever rallied around us. Nobody ever said anything about nothing. And I met a record producer that I still know. He's still in the business. He's promoted over 85 #1 records. I saw him in Nashville one day, and he saw me at a gas station and he hollered at me. And I turned around, and it was him. And he said, "Man, Sammy, how are you doing?" I said, "Man, I'm doing okay." And he said, "What do you think about doing something for Kevin and honoring Kevin down here on Music Row?" I said, "Man, I think it's a great idea. Whatever you want to do, count me in." I run into him about a year or two later at CRS, and I asked him, I said, "Whatever happened to what you asked me about doing something for Kevin?" He said, "Sammy, nobody on Music Row wanted to do anything." And I think it's a shame.
Well, maybe, you know what, maybe now with you getting out there and this is going worldwide, we're in 79, 80 countries, maybe people will sit there and turn around and come, "Hey, man, look, maybe it's, different town in many ways." Hopefully maybe people will step up and say, "Hey, man, I remember this." And they'll sit there and say, "Hey, man, you know what, this is a different time." And, and a lot of things have changed in all these years. And maybe some of this stuff, from your lips to God's ears, and they'll make it happen because, that's
Well,
things
the Murder
possible
on
there.
Music Row is not just a song. That's what everybody
Right.
out here, they know the song about George Strait and Alan Jackson.
Yes, sir.
Larry Shell and Larry Corder wrote that song. They'll never admit to you that that's where they got the idea to write the song. But if you listen to the first lines in the song, it tells you where they got the idea to write the song. If they twisted it, country music's dying on Music Row. And, there was a real life murder on Music Row, and it took somebody's life, and it changed two people's life and their family and all the people that were connected to them forever.
You can't take that back. Like I said, from your lips to God's ears, maybe they're trying to make it happen, and people will be a little bit more recognizable today and say, "Hey, man, look, you know what? Sammy, this is a different time, brother, and maybe, you guys get some music out there and touring and everything else and sharing your story with Lightbox Media Channel and many other people out here. Maybe they'll bring it to light now where things they wouldn't bring before." Now, I want to tell you honestly, and I appreciate you, and I'm sorry I kind of hit nerve strings there and heartstrings on there, and I appreciate you, really being honest because of the fact that, you got a bullet in your shoulder, sit there and gives you plenty of credibility to say, "Look, man, this is for real. This isn't TV Hollywood. It is." But I mean, your sincerity speaks by itself. And I'm not an easy guy to BS. So I truly respect you on that part. Now, as far as music's concerned, now, what would you want people to know about you getting music out there today? Sammy Sadler out there putting out their music today. Just kind of breaking things in and kind of pushing it out there and doing what you want to do and touring and doing what you love to do.
Well, I've never went away, like I said, with the Murder on Music Row, it took my career from me. Leon has been fortunate enough to have the hits. He's been able to experience it. I was halfway up the ladder, but then it all got taken out from me, But since the Murder on Music Row, I've had 3 different record deals, and every time we've gotten a record deal and gotten something we thought was going to be going and get things happening, the record companies either restructure or they get bought out, and next thing we know, they close the label down, and it's kind of left my music unheard. So, I've never went away. We've got a brand new album, or my latest album was titled 1989. You can get it on all the streaming platforms.
Hell of an album, by the way. Hell of an album, by the way.
Thank you, man.
I appreciate that.
We went back to that era, and I took some of those records, I re-recut Tell It Like It Is, and put that on the album. Then we brought in some of the original artists that had the hits, that had the original hits, and they sang with me on the album. And I'm proud
Drop
of that
some
album.
names. Drop some names.
We
Come
had,
on, brother.
Marty Raymer, Shenandoah, and Larry Stewart, rest his heart, and T. Graham Brown. And I'm thankful for those guys to come in and sing with me on the album.
T. Graham Brown's so shy, a little guy, right?
No, and he's like a fine wine.
He's
I'm
awesome.
thankful for those guys to come in, and I think we've got magic on that record, and I think we've got good cuts on it. So if anybody'd like to get that, go to all the streaming platforms and download it and share it if you like it.
I love that. Now we got a little bit of fun here, Terrence. So I was firing away with your tag team partner over there a minute ago. So I went from Spike to Boo Boo back to Spike now.
Now Spike's turn.
All right, so we're gonna sit there. Start off with first dinner and dancing or a movie.
As you can tell, dinner. I love that food now.
Steak or lobster?
Lobster.
All right. Cool. Favorite on the road food or place to stop?
Man, I don't know. We stop at a lot of Cracker Barrels.
I can't beat a good Cracker Barrel.
But
man.
we try to find, when we go into these towns, we try to find, off the wall stuff. Because some of the times you find some of the best food when you try to find it.
Oh man, you go through some of those Texas towns, some of those Alabama towns,
Yeah.
you find that barbecue, the guy on the corner
Yeah.
cooking. Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, boy, you want some sweet tea too? And some,
Yeah.
Yes, sir. That pie too. I'll take some of that too. All right. I'm a fat kid at heart. That's all right. You know what I mean? So, okay, that's great. So, beach or mountains?
Beach.
You dig it. Okay, I like that. I need a tan.
Yeah.
But now I'm gonna ask you this differently. So,
And why I say the beach?
Yes, sir.
Because if I took my fiance with me, there are no mountains. We got to go to the beach. There's got to be a hotel. She couldn't camp out now.
is she a glamper?
Huh?
Yeah, was she one of those glampers?
She's got to have a hotel. But I guess I do too. So, that's why we go to the beach.
Yeah, you kind of get a little older, kind of like, all the outside stuff, the tents and stuff might not exactly
I
be.
love the beach, man.
I dig it. I dig it. You got a favorite beach to go to?
When I go, I like to go down to West Palm.
West Palm?
Yeah, I like to stay down there.
It's very cool. Favorite gift you ever got?
Oh my goodness.
From your significant?
Me and Mel's just been together a little over nearly 2 years. I guess we're going on 2 years, and man, I'm not a big. I don't like to celebrate my birthday and stuff, man. I like to be just laid down and easy and just go to dinner. So me and her just spend quiet times, go to dinner, and that's the
Appreciate each other.
Yeah, man. That's what it's all about.
I like that. That's cool. Good save.
Yeah.
Now you're. I'm going to throw this out there because I have to. Your favorite place to perform? We'll say a couple of them. Favorite places you've performed?
Oh my goodness! I got the opportunity to go to Washington D.C. and do a show for Janet Reno on Capitol Hill, so that was
very cool.
That was a good thing. And,
by the way, for you people out there that don't understand, Texan, yes, when you do your wash, there's an R in it. So you go and do your wash.
Yeah. I don't know. That was a fun experience, and we played so many places. It's hard to remember all of them.
That's really cool, though. I mean, you go play, go play, in DC Washington D.C. for a really big deal like that. That's really neat.
Yeah.
I appreciate you sharing. So, favorite entertainer you've ever seen in person? You bought a ticket for?
I went to see. One night I went to see, and they were together, was Journey and Lionel Richie.
Wow.
They were both together the same night.
Wow. Not a dry eye in the house that night, right?
It was a magical night.
Man, was that Steve Perry Journey?
Yeah.
Whoa, now I'm jealous, man, because I never saw him full show in concert. Yeah. I had to leave early, so now I'm jealous.
Yeah, it was like a magical night, man. It's like I remember when Lionel was coming on, the stage rose up out of the deal, and it was tilted. It had a white baby grand piano, and the spotlight was hitting. It was playing Lady with nobody there, and then Lionel walks out and starts singing Lady. Man, it was awesome, man.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
One of the greatest singer-songwriters of all time. And come on, you even see Kenny Rogers sit there and say, he says, "Well, I want you to, write a song about something, and it's Lady, you're my night shining." 20 minutes later, he's got a whole song, one of the greatest love songs of all time. Absolutely. I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah. As like a songwriter, you just sit there and go, "You ribbing me?" But that's all. That's a concert for that. I didn't even know they were on together.
Yeah, they did a show together in Dallas.
Where? What? In Dallas?
In Dallas, Reunion Arena.
Oh man, I've been there millions of times.
Yeah,
wow, that's great. That's an awesome share.
Yeah.
Thank you. When you go out, what do you look for in food? We'll sit there and ask you, what do you look for in food? If you're driving on the road, is it when the spirit gets you, okay, man, I want Tex-Mex today, I want Italian today? What's like one of your favorite things to go look for?
Man, again, man, it's hard to find good food on the road.
Right, yeah.
We're a lot of times we're at truck stops, So to find good food, you got to go off the beaten path. To try to find those kind of places. Right.
So, are you a breakfast guy or a dinner guy?
I'm more of a dinner guy. Yeah, I do a little breakfast every now and then, but mostly dinner.
So
I love it.
We got Boo Boo giving us a share over there.
Yeah, that's all we've been been doing since we've been here is eating. Gained about 10 pounds this week.
I'm trying to watch my girlish figure. I don't know what the hell happened to it, but But I mean, all right, and that's great, and that's one of the great things cool about you is also you guys love to have a good time, and it's really cool to see you guys behind the scenes, by the way, and just kind of relaxing, and even though I've been here visiting with you guys for a little while and sit there and seeing how you guys also interact with each other, and and a huge thank you to you both significant others for all the time that they've also donated to us today on doing this too, because their patience with us and the puppy
and Pumpkin
and Pumpkin. So I mean now, but as far as the fact of actor you wanted like to perform with still today, if you were sitting there saying somebody out there today that's still around, who would you say yes I want to perform with them?
For me, Steve Warner's been a very big influence on my music, obviously, and Steve. I've opened a show for Steve before, and
really, that's
ended
awesome.
up. Steve's been gracious enough to come in and sing background on one of my albums and records, and he's just one of the genuine nice guys in country music. Plus, he's such a talented guy, producer, songwriter, musician, all around talent, man.
How about a lady? How about a female
lady?
Obviously, I know we just lost Loretta, and she was one of one of the big deals. But who would be some of the people today, a lady or two that you would like to perform with today?
Growing up, my fiance loves Dolly, so I'd have to say it'd be cool to be able to sing with Dolly.
Hey, who wouldn't? Right? I mean, that's a great choice. I mean, and she just got that charm about her too.
She does, man. I mean, she's still blowing and going, and she's out there, man.
I love that. Somebody who's no longer with us that you would have loved to perform with?
Elvis.
You have to think about that for a minute?
No.
I mean, that is great. I love that. That's
I'll
awesome.
tell you a little thing. We were in Memphis one time, and I was just a little kid. My mom and dad, which my dad met my mom in Memphis whenever she was in Memphis working, and they took me out to Graceland, and Elvis's Uncle Fester was the guard gate. And we went up there, and he come out and got to talking to us. Well, he ended up letting me come in, and he brought down the Jeep that Elvis blew away in and rode me around Graceland. And I got to ride around, and when we got back down to the end of the gates, Elvis was standing in the door waving. So I'll never forget that.
Oh man, now I'm jealous. Now I'm really jealous. Now you just do that on purpose. That's really cool, man. Thank you. That is really, really cool. I mean, just to say, even if you wouldn't even have seen the King, just to have ridden around in the Jeep at Graceland would have been really cool with an uncle, But for the King to be there, I mean, that's wow. That's just. How old were you?
I don't know. I was probably 7 to 10 years old, probably.
Gosh, man, that is really cool. I mean, that's a story to sit there, that you have. You can sit there and say that, we were talking about the Elvis movie, which is phenomenal, but to sit there and say, hey, man, look, I rode around in that deal of his, and and I got the King that waved to me. I mean, that is awesome.
It was a moment I'll never forget.
What song, if you could do a song with a King, what would it be?
He's got so many. Like I told you, I mean, I like Hurt. I don't know, man. It's I really like that. Way On Down. Just he had so many great songs.
Oh yeah, it's hard to hard to kind of pick
It is.
when you have so many hits as he did. It's like in the Hawaii thing we were talking about earlier. He says, "Oh, keep do this one, so I'll do all 429 of them." I mean, I got right on that. I mean, but that's awesome, and I love that, man. The Graceland story just got me. I mean, that's something that you have to go see because it is. Really, I say today there's still nothing like it. Even though like the TV room and everything else is aged because TV, we don't have TV, big TVs anymore. But it's still who had 12 TVs or whatever it is in the house that could watch all the NFL.
In that time period, people say, well, this is all it is. In that time period, that was a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I had one TV that was black and white half the time I was a kid. So we didn't have cable until I was married. So,
I think Elvis might have bought Graceland for $100,000.
Yeah.
And I mean, back then that was a lot of money.
You know, I'll give you some. You know that the VCR we were talking about RCA earlier. His VCR on his plane, the Lisa Marie. That's the first VCR that was bought by a person. And RCA actually made him buy it. He paid like $4,000 or $5,000 for it.
Wow.
I said, man, I had them send that to me. I mean, all the money I made you, you just sent that thing to me. You know what I mean? But he paid like $4,000 or $5,000. It's as big as a rack stereo.
Man.
You know, so we look at the ones we had and like they look like a boat. You know, but you know, I tell you what. Now I'm gonna have to throw this out there: horror, comedy for movie.
I probably horror.
Got a favorite?
Man, I don't know. It's hard for me to think right now. Put me on the spot. It's hard.
I'm doing my worst.
Goodness. I don't know. We've seen some good ones. I don't remember what.
Are you a Halloween guy? Are you a Friday the 13th guy?
I like, my fiance. She won't go to the scary movies with me, so I don't get to see any of those. So I have to go and see the lovey-dovey stuff and the happy times, but she won't go with me to see those. I think it gives her nightmares or something.
Gotcha. That's a good answer. With it, where can everybody find you on social media?
Go to SammySadler.com. Go to my new Facebook page, Sammy Sadler Official, and I'm sure we've got YouTube, Twitter, all of that stuff. Go and like it, share it, and go to Leon's page and check him out and check all of his stuff out as well.
Make sure to hit the merchandise spots up, like and subscribe, follow all those deals on there. It has been such a great time having you. I really appreciate you taking the time. Ladies and gentlemen, go check out Sammy Sadler, Lifebox Media Channel. We are out.